general one to get going, and then I will post in the chat. If you'd like to ask a question, raise your hand and I will put the order of questions in the chat. But I suppose, just firstly, Kane, I suppose a reflection from yourself on the team's performance through the pool play and a look ahead to the semi-final for us, please.
Yeah, look, I think every team coming into the tournament knew that it would be highly competitive, and it certainly proved to be the case. And both pools were very strong, and for us, the focus was to try and grow and improve just a little bit from game to game. And I think largely we've been able to do that reasonably well and adapt to the variety of conditions that we've been faced with. And the focus for us is the same, and it was great to qualify and to be here at the moment. But the focus is obviously the next challenge, which is a great one against England.
And just quickly, everyone's fitting well, and I believe there's a night training tonight as your final one before the game. Is that right?
Yep. Everybody's fit, which is great. And we have a practice, and then look forward to the match tomorrow.
Cool. I'll pass it over to Andrew Vorman from stuff.co.nz back at home, and then I'll post the rest of the question order in the chat. Thanks.
Hi, Kane. Congratulations on making the semi-finals.
Thank you.
You got to the same stage in your first tournament as captain 5 years ago against the same opponent. How far do you think this team has come, in those 5 years?
I suppose there's always a development focus, a growth focus as an international side, and over a period of time, there's a number of players or personnel that change, whether that's players or support staff, and I think we've seen that from the last tournament to this one, and then you throw in different conditions, and everybody has those challenges, but there have been some really good steps forward, and this tournament compared to the last one, there are I suppose a few new faces and a real mixture of that sort of youth and experience, but it's been a nice journey, I suppose, for 5 years ago. And it's nice to be here and be involved in the semi-finals. But the guys are really looking forward to the challenge and want to continue to focus on the cricket that we've been playing and try and improve on it.
5 years ago, two guys who didn't play a lot were Trent Boult and Tim Southee. They're two veterans in this team. How important have they been in this tournament, getting the team off to good starts with the ball?
Yeah, they've been brilliant. Like you mentioned, they've been involved in the team in all formats for a long period of time, and really experienced operators for us, and experienced in terms of playing in all different conditions, and have been executing their skills beautifully and performing their roles to the highest standards. So have been doing a fantastic job for us, really leading our attack, who have been performing well and adjusting well to the different surfaces that we've been on, and a real strength in our side.
And just lastly from me, why do you think you're going to be able to get the win tomorrow night?
Why do we think?
Yeah, why?
I suppose whenever you play a game of cricket, you're focusing on the important parts to your game that give you the best chance, and no doubt England will be doing something very similar, and both teams have been playing well throughout the tournament, so it should be a really good game of cricket. And coming into the competition, every side's got match winners, which makes way for a really exciting event, and we've seen that throughout the last sort of 3 weeks. So it's great to be here in the finals, and for us, it's going out playing our game, expressing ourselves, and committing to those little things that give us the best chance. But England are a very strong side and have been playing really well, so should be a really good game of cricket.
Cool, thank you.
Hi, Kane. This is Deva from Cricinfo. Daryl Mitchell and Devon Conway have sort of adapted to new roles on the fly. But before that, they've been really doing well at domestic cricket. You might have played with Daryl at ND. So could you just talk about how the domestic structure has sort of kept these guys international ready, especially at this tournament?
Yeah, I mean, someone like Devon's has played this sort of role for us anyway in the New Zealand team for a while, and he is a very experienced player, although relatively new to the international game, but clearly world class in his skill set and a fantastic head on his shoulders. So he has made those adjustments really quickly and come over to the UAE, which is his first time, and played some really key roles for us. And Daryl, who's been involved in a number of formats and has brought a brilliant attitude. And I suppose coming into the tournament, everybody's preparation was perhaps a little bit disjointed, and Daryl's earned himself an opportunity at the top of the order, with his ability to hit the ball hard and straight and also play spin, and he's come into the side and basically grabbed every opportunity in any format with both hands, and him and Guptill at the top of the order have been getting us off to some really nice starts.
And lastly, from me, you're someone who sort of relishes hitting a lot of balls in the nets, but your elbow has sort of limited your training at the net. So how do you sort of find that balance on the front between sort of limiting yourself at training and keeping yourself fresh for the game?
Yeah, that has been a bit of a challenge for me personally, and the balance between the loading of the elbow and things like that to try and stay as fresh as possible for the game. So it's been a bit of a delicate balance to get my head around, and I certainly look forward to the day that it's gone and I don't have to worry too much about it. But as it stands, it's it's a topic of discussion and just trying to work closely with the physio to make sure that in the games you're as fresh as possible. But it's had an impact on loading, which therefore means training's sort of been a little bit a lot less, to be fair.
Hi Kane, I just wanted to ask you a little bit about your opponents. Obviously a team that you know so well, played a lot of cricket against them in recent times. At the start of England's kind of white ball success, they really suggested that they took a leaf out of New Zealand's book in the way that you played your white ball cricket under Brendan and in 2015. Since then, obviously, they beat you in the semi-final of the 2016 2020 World Cup and the 2019 World Cup final. Do you kind of feel like now's your time, and do you kind of feel like if they've copied your template, now's the time for the Masters to show what it's all about?
Look, I mean, we've played each other a number of times. We've had some really, really good games and really good series. And the evolution of the England side, and particularly the white ball sides, been significant over a number of years, and they've got a lot of experienced T20 players in their side, and as a collective are playing some really good cricket. So we know it's a nice challenge that we're looking forward to, and both teams try and utilize what they have to the best of their ability and try and play their best cricket. So I mean, you turn up on the day, and as we know, particularly in this format, it's very fickle in its nature, and both teams will go out and look to put their best foot forward, and what will be at the end of it. But for us, it has been a real growth focus, although it was, like I mentioned, slightly disjointed in preparation at the start. It's sort of been one game at a time, and trying to adapt and make those small improvements throughout the competition as quickly as we could. And it meant that the team had been ticking over reasonably nicely, and watching from afar, England have been doing something very similar and been playing some really good cricket. So it should be a really good contest come tomorrow.
And just finally from me, as I said, I know you know each other very well, and I think there's probably going to be 6 on each side that played in the 2019 final, for example. But what about the guys that maybe you don't know so well? Someone like a Liam Livingstone, do you know much about him and what he might bring to the party, and how are you going to prepare for that threat?
Yeah, I mean, look, they've got match winners throughout their team, and that's been a big, I suppose, movement of their white ball side. They're sort of power packed and bat quite deep as well. And I spent a little bit of time with Liam at the Birmingham Phoenix, and he played superbly well throughout that whole 100-ball competition. So there are, a number of threats and number of match winners, and we also have a number of match winners as well. And at the end of the day, it's trying to commit to what you do as a team, and we both do it a little bit differently, and that constantly changes just over time, and personnel changes and all these sorts of things. And yeah, I think both teams are just looking forward to the occasion. It's been a long time coming, this next T20 World Cup, so it's been exciting to be involved in it. And obviously it's all coming to a quick end, and we've got a semi-final and all going well. Hopefully another game after that.
Thanks, Kane. All the best.
Cheers.
Hi, Kane.
Hello.
Your World Test champions. You came as near as damn it to winning the 50 over World Cup, and now you're 2 games away from the T20 World Cup. What is it that you keep getting so right as a team?
Yeah, I mean, for us as a team, we're always trying to improve and commit to what is important to us as a team, and that forever changes a little bit. And I suppose over the years, you look back to perhaps the last T20 World Cup, and there's been a few personnel changes, and I suppose that's the same in all sides. But for us, our ethos, our environment is something that is important, but it doesn't promise. And it's been nice to be involved in some memorable games in recent times. But the focus for the sides sort of always the bigger picture, and trying to make those small adjustments. And it's nice that the side have largely been tracking pretty well in that respect. So having said that, you turn up in finals cricket, and especially in T20 cricket, where on the day there's match winners throughout and anything can happen. But it's exciting, and the players are all really looking forward to the occasion. But yeah, largely for us, it's just always trying to improve and give to the people around us.
And England are without Tamal Mills, which you already knew about, and Jason Roy ruled out yesterday. Does that make them slightly more vulnerable than they would have been otherwise?
But I mean, they're both big players for England, and it's a real shame that they have suffered injuries in this competition. But I think one of the strengths as well of the England side is their depth that they've managed to produce over a period of time, and having spent some time at the Birmingham Phoenix and being sort of a little bit involved in that 100 ball comp, you can tell that there's a huge amount of talent throughout. So they're still a very much a very strong side who have been playing some really good cricket.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, hi, Captain. So my question. So first of all, congratulations for reaching the semi-finals. My question is to you: the momentum which New Zealand team is in for the especially last few ICC tournaments. So how you feel special to lead the particular side, this special group of boys from New Zealand? How you feel as a captain to lead these kinds of guys? You're the players which you are leading right now.
Yeah, I mean, a great group of players. In all the 3 formats, there's a lot of buy-in and a real common goal, amongst the guys in the group, which you feel fortunate to be a part of. And it's also great that there are also a number of other leaders in the group that offer so much and help drive the team forward. So it is a real collective effort, and that support staff included.
Hi, Kane. If Jason Roy hadn't got injured, you'd probably be able to plan with a fair degree of certainty for what team England were going to pick. But without him, they're going to be forced into a reorganisation, and you're not quite sure what that's going to look like. So has his injury, obviously it's weakened England, but has it also made your approach to the semi-final, your tactical planning, more difficult? And if so, how? And if not, why, I suppose? Yeah,
you're right. I suppose whenever there's an injury, there's someone else comes in, and you're not to know who they are until the toss. But look, you try and prepare and plan as best you can, and then when you go out there, you're sort of competing in the moment. And that's kind of all that matters then. But Jason's a big player for England and has been playing really nicely and been getting the team off to good starts along with Joss. But like I mentioned, the depth in the England side is one of their strengths, and we'll try and plan it accordingly to the best of our ability. But largely want to focus on the sort of cricket that we want to play as a group and keep developing on that as we've been doing throughout this tournament.
Yeah. Hi, Ken. Ken, coming into this T20 World Cup, it was sort of predicted that given the conditions, Asian teams will be having an upper hand. But as we see the semifinals lineup, just only one Asian team is into the last four. How much do you think IPL has contributed in terms of sort of nullifying the conditions factor?
Yeah, I mean, the IPL and I suppose the other franchise comps, but certainly add a lot to the knowledge of the players from all countries, and also add to the experience of being able to share. And I think we've seen in this tournament, and we certainly saw in the second half of the IPL, the variability and the surfaces, which, like you mentioned, perhaps lent itself more naturally to certain sides. But you sort of, in the moment, you compete in different games, and the margins are fine, and we know coming into this tournament that truly any team could beat anybody, and we sort of saw that throughout the competition, and there are some sides that perhaps were favourites coming into it and were unfortunate on their day, but I suppose that's tournament sport as well, and it made way for what has been and will continue to be a really action-packed and exciting competition. So it's great. We feel fortunate, to have got through the stages and been playing some reasonable cricket, and we want to continue to do that.
Thank you. Good luck for the game.
Thank you.
Hi, Kane. Going back to those meetings with England, particularly. Sorry, am I too loud? Sorry about that.
Something happened. Jeez.
I'll try and talk a bit quieter.
Just a blip in the...
Just going to say, coming back to some of those meetings against England, particularly in the big competitions, and I suppose in particular that 50-over World Cup final, excuse me, you were extremely magnanimous after that defeat. But when you look back, does it still feel in some ways like the one that got away?
Yeah, I mean, it was an amazing game of cricket, and obviously sort of late in the stages, it was highly competitive, and a few things perhaps didn't quite go away towards the end of the game, and that's sort of the way it was, and naturally there were some rules and all these different bits and pieces that fell another way and decided the result. But in terms of our commitment to what we wanted to do, that was there, and that's how we like to try and measure ourselves. And I know there's that added context around finals and these sorts of things, and and everybody's got a different opinion on it, and to have ties and boundary counts and all these sorts of dramatic things that decide some matches or not so much anymore. But it was an amazing game to be a part of, and it's certainly all the guys that that when it does come up in conversation, it's looked back on fondly, and appreciate that experience. And although at the time, or the aftermath was very difficult to understand, and perhaps didn't make a lot of sense, but it is what it is, and you sign up, you play by the rules, and then you move on, and you look forward to the next challenges. And as a group, they continue to come thick and fast, and that's where we like to put our focus. And not long after that was some test cricket focus, and now we're at a T20 World Cup, and the cricket just continues to roll on.
Look forward to it. Thanks very much, Kane.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone for jumping online. Thanks for your time, Kane. Apologies to those who we couldn't get to your questions. Thanks very much, everyone. Cheers.